You miss someone who hurt you, and it doesn't make sense. Your mind knows what they did. Your memory can replay the moments that broke you, the words that cut too deep, the silence that felt louder than screaming. You remember how small you felt around them, how much you questioned yourself, how often you waited for an apology that never really came. And yet, despite all of that, they're there, living rent-free in your head. You miss them, not just sometimes, but in waves that hit you when you least expect it. This confusion is one of the most painful emotional experiences a person can have. People often shame themselves for it. They think missing someone who caused pain means they're weak, stupid, or broken. But the truth is far more human and far more complex. Missing someone who hurt you isn't a flaw. It's a sign that your brain and heart are trying to process a bond that mattered, even if it was unhealthy. One of the biggest reasons you miss someone who hurt you is emotional attachment. Attachment doesn't disappear just because someone treated you badly. When you form a deep connection with someone, your nervous system gets used to their presence. Their voice, their messages, their habits become familiar. Familiarity creates a sense of safety, even when the relationship itself was unsafe. So when that person is gone, your system goes into withdrawal. It's not just emotional, it's biological. Your brain misses the pattern, the routine, the predictability, even if that predictability included pain. Another reason is that your brain doesn't remember pain the same way it remembers comfort. Over time, the mind has a tendency to soften the sharp edges of bad memories. You don't forget what happened, but the emotional intensity fades. Meanwhile, the good moments replay in high definition. The laughs, the late-night talks, the feeling of being chosen or wanted. Your brain zooms in on what felt good and pushes what hurt into the background. This isn't romanticizing the past on purpose, it's how memory works. The brain is wired to seek pleasure and connection, not pain. You also miss who you were when you were with them. This part hurts in a quiet, sneaky way. Maybe you were more hopeful then. Maybe you believed in love more. Maybe you felt seen, even if it didn't last. Losing them feels like losing a version of yourself. The version that laughed harder, dreamed bigger, or felt less alone. Sometimes you don't miss the person as much as you miss the way they made you feel at the beginning. There's also the unfinished story. Humans crave closure. When someone hurts you and leaves, or when things end without real accountability, your mind keeps trying to solve the puzzle. You replay conversations, imagine different outcomes, wonder what you could have said or done differently. Missing them becomes part of that mental loop. It feels like if you could just talk to them one more time, everything would finally make sense. But closure rarely comes from the person who caused the damage. It comes from accepting that some answers will never arrive. Hope plays a huge role too. Even after being hurt, part of you may still believe they could change. You remember the potential you saw in them, the promises they made, the moments when they almost showed up the way you needed. You don't miss who they were at their worst, you miss who you thought they could become. Letting go of that hope can feel like giving up on a future you once imagined, and that loss can feel just as real as losing the person themselves. There's also the fear of loneliness. Sometimes missing someone who hurt you isn't about love at all, it's about emptiness. When someone leaves, they take up space with them. Silence replaces noise. Nights feel longer. Your phone feels heavier in your hand. In those moments, your mind may reach for the familiar pain rather than face the unknown loneliness. The hurt you know can feel safer than the uncertainty you don't. Self-worth can make this even harder. If someone hurt you repeatedly, it can quietly change how you see yourself. You may start to believe that being hurt is the price you pay for connection. Missing them then becomes tied to the belief that this is the best you can get. That belief is not true, but it can feel very real when your confidence has been worn down over time. Trauma bonding is another powerful reason. When relationships swing between affection and pain, your brain becomes hooked on the cycle. The highs feel higher because of the lows. The relief after conflict feels intense. Your nervous system starts confusing chaos with passion. When the relationship ends, your body misses that emotional intensity, even though it was exhausting and harmful. What you're craving isn't the person, it's the emotional spike your system got used to. You may also miss them because you're grieving. Grief doesn't only happen when someone dies. You grieve the relationship you hoped for, the love you wanted to receive, the time you invested. Grief doesn't care whether the person was good to you or not. It shows up anyway. And grief often looks like longing, nostalgia, and missing someone who doesn't deserve a place in your present but still lives in your past. It's important to understand that missing someone does not mean you should go back to them. Feelings are not instructions. They are signals. Missing them is your heart acknowledging that something mattered. It doesn't mean the relationship was healthy or that the pain was acceptable. Two things can be true at the same time. They hurt you, and you miss them. Healing begins when you stop judging yourself for missing them. Fighting the feeling only makes it stronger. Allowing it, without acting on it, gives it space to pass. Feelings move when they're acknowledged. They get stuck when they're shamed. Over time, the missing changes. It becomes less about wanting them back and more about understanding yourself. You start to see patterns. Why you stayed, why you hoped, why you tolerated things you shouldn't have. This awareness isn't meant to blame you, it's meant to free you. When you understand the reason, you're less likely to repeat the same cycle. One day, you'll realize you don't miss them anymore, you miss what you needed then. Love, validation, safety, connection. And the most powerful shift happens when you start learning how to give those things to yourself and accept them from people who don't hurt you to keep you. Missing someone who hurt you doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. It means you loved, hoped, attached, and felt deeply. Those are not flaws. They are signs of emotional capacity. The goal isn't to erase the missing overnight. The goal is to grow beyond it. And one day, without forcing it, without even noticing when it started, the memory of them will lose its emotional charge. You'll remember what happened clearly, but it won't pull you back. You'll understand that missing them was part of your healing, not a step backward. Because the truth is, you weren't missing the pain. You were missing the connection. And you deserve a connection that doesn't hurt to hold on to.